Hey everybody, welcome back to 13 Rings and NFC East podcast. I'm your host Lucas with Mal, Maurice, and Earl. Guys, week 4 is in the books. How are you feeling this week?
Exhausted.
Yeah, same.
I'm all right.
Mal, you don't have an excuse to be exhausted. You just got back from vacation.
I thought we were talking about football. I didn't think we were talking about life.
both life and football, they can coincide.
Life is good.
Okay, well, we're
Football's
glad
no
that
good.
you're back.
I'm glad to
that
be
you're
back, guys.
Yes, for sure. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind our listeners that if you like this episode, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you do on whatever platform you're listening to us to. We very appreciate the support, and it helps us continue to make great content for you guys. Now, that being said, before we get into anything this week, we of course have to review from our holy text, our holy text about what happened, our predictions for week 4. So, you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
So we had an interconference matchup with the Dallas Cowboys and Giants. We all had the Cowboys winning. No surprise there. Week 4, we also had the Commanders all winning that one. And for the Eagles, we had 3 wins, 1 loss prediction. Who do you guys think had the 1 loss prediction?
I'm going to say you.
Mal?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's you.
Wow, so cynical. Earl?
Me?
It was actually Mal.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you predicted a loss for the Eagles.
I don't know why I did. I feel like my justification was, you know what? I'm glad I did because I was an honorary Floridian this week, y'all, and I couldn't be happier.
I mean, you're there now. You're by the way, we hope that you're safe, with all the hurricane stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't hit at all, but the west of Florida and up north, say a prayer for them. They still need it, but we're good down here.
Okay, that's good to hear. Good to hear. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Earl and Mal because they were the marquee matchup, Thursday night primetime matchup. Let's go ahead and dive into this one, guys.
All right, Earl, winners first.
I'm going to let you go this time.
Really?
Yep.
Losers first? Okay.
Ladies first.
Ladies
the
first.
agenda.
All right, that's fine. So, Giants played the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. I actually just caught it as I was arriving into JFK, which was pretty cool. They had it on as I was walking out of the terminal, which, honestly, guys, I'm pretty shocked that the Giants kept it this close in this game. I mean, Dallas, they have their faults, which I'll let Earl get into, but here's the problems that I have with the Giants. So, number one, well, let's talk about the positives first. Malik Neighbors, he's just having a great start to his rookie season. He did really well in this game, wound up getting hurt with a concussion, so I hope he's all right to start next week, but if not, I hope we don't push him. That's really the only good thing. Now, the bad things that I wanted to mention. So, can't win football games by just scoring field goals unless you're the Commanders against the Giants.
Hey, there we go.
And, I was thinking of something. I was like, only the Giants would lose a game to all field goals and also lose a game by only scoring field goals. That's only something the Giants would do. But,
now, see, I thought you were going to say starting with Daniel Jones, but I'm sure you'll get there.
I'll get there. Don't worry. He's part of the problem. So, Daniel Jones, honestly, I mean, this is what's weird about it. He hasn't played awful, but he can't get it done. The deep ball is just non-existent. I don't know why we're still not using Hyatt. That's a Dable question. I would love to know what's going on in his head. Offense really just is stagnant besides Neighbors, and it's not sustainable to use him as much as we are. Somebody else on the team has to step up, whether it's Darius Slayton or Wan'Dale Robinson. We also need to get our tight ends involved more. Our tight ends are just non-existent the entire time. So that's one thing. Another thing, Dallas had one of the worst defenses against the run, and we could not run against them. How do you even make that up? You can't. It's sad. Devin Singletary just barely produced, And that was something that we really needed to take advantage of if we wanted to win that game, because that was something that Dallas was struggling with for the first few weeks. So I don't know what happened there. Another problem that I have is that our secondary is in rough shape. Deonte Banks is not ready to be a cornerback 1. I think he would be a solid cornerback 2, but because we have no other options in the backfield, we're kind of forcing Deonte Banks into situations that he really shouldn't be in because he's not going to succeed. I think he has the most yards against him from what I saw. Or maybe I have the stat wrong. I got to find it real quick because it was just an alarming stat. If you guys can just bear with me for 1 second. He has the highest passer rating allowed with 134 with 20 plus targets, which is just crazy. He's not ready to be a CB1 yet. So the cornerback position is just really, it needs to be addressed. And that's really all that I have when it comes to all the negatives with the Giants. And like I said, I can't really think of much positive. I mean, the pass rush looked a little better. The defense did a pretty good job, but we just can't score enough points to win games. You need to score touchdowns, and our offense just isn't getting it done. So I digress.
Who's your player of the game for the Giants, Mal?
Greg Joseph. He's the only one that scored anything.
Oh, you mean the kicker? I was about to say,
Yeah.
who is Greg Joseph?
Yeah, he's our kicker now because Graham Gano's hurt.
Okay. Well, I will just say this. I think you guys are closer than you think. And like you said, Daniel Jones did not play bad, but he's like a low-end game manager.
Well,
he's not going to win you game.
Yeah, this is where, the Giants are confusing me because they don't look bad. Like, they really don't. And very easily, as they are 1-3, they could have been 3-1 if things went a little differently. But I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, we're playing Seattle this weekend. I don't foresee a good result in that.
No.
So, there's not really much to say. It is kind of what it is because, and also the drop passes. The drop passes were crazy this game. We're constantly beating ourselves up, losing games. It's just how it's going, It's just that kind of year. But go ahead, Lucas, continue.
No, I mean, that's really it. I mean, like, Daniel Jones, is he playing up to the contract? No. But is he playing awful? No. That being said, he's not. He's playing as if he's a backup filling in for a starter. He's not a starting quarterback. I still hold true. He's game managing the best he can, but the running game isn't really doing too much. No shock there, no offense. And outside of Malik, let me put it this way: Malik Neighbors is saving Daniel Jones's career. Because without Malik Neighbors, I don't even know if he would be looking as if he's a backup filling in for a starter. Like, let's be real on that. So,
Malik Neighbors is a star. He's going to be great. We got really lucky with him, but
still not the best rookie in the division. But
well, relax. It's still. And you know what? I will say this though. One thing I do love is how much Jaden and him support each other. That's like my favorite thing in the entire world. And I'm rooting. I love that. Like, I love their relationship. And honestly, it's so cool. Like, to have two really good rookies in our division. One wide receiver, one quarterback. So I'm all for that.
Anybody else want to chime in before Earl preaches? I say preach because at this point it's like a sermon every Tuesday night. Maurice?
No, I got nothing.
Okay.
All right, Earl. Take it away.
Pastor Earl.
I'm not there at a pastor yet, but I will spread some gospel. The situation I have with this game, and Gigi's, Mal, and Becca, if you're listening, the score was 20-15. One thing that I noticed from this, and I'll say this before I get into what the Cowboys did, Mal and Becca, who's listening, I feel like you guys performed y'all game as if y'all are showcasing your new quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft, where I'm not even focused on Daniel Jones in this situation. I'm looking at your skill position guys. The defense, y'all have a better defense than y'all had last year. Your offense looks a lot better than what you had last year. Quarterback, same thing his rookie year with some upside with having Malik Neighbors. So I feel like y'all were showcasing for your next future quarterback because Daniel Jones is not it. But overall, I think with what y'all have the pieces that surround y'all. Y'all just need to get a quarterback under the helm. And I feel like the owner for the Giants did a disservice to Brian Dable with everything that's going on, getting him the quarterback that he desires with the skill position guys that y'all already have in place. So that's my take on it. I'm going to shift over to my boys. One thing that I noticed about the Cowboys is that Mike McCarthy, he's got to open up that playbook a little bit more. I saw some glimpses of it with CeeDee Lamb, but I want to see more of Jalen Tolbert, see more of Jalen Brooks, and get more working with the run game. I'm going to get to that about the run game, but I also want to send focus to the defense. Regardless of what the defense have done, I've seen slight improvements to that. How Mal talked about the run game, it wasn't too hot for the Giants, not because it was a shocker with Dallas. It's more that I'm seeing more of the improvements when every guy do their job. Everything within the defense, especially that front, is gonna go the right direction. I got the stat line from the last two games from the Saints and Baltimore running the ball. As a total, the last two games they had over 464 yards with 7 rushing touchdowns, having 5.5 yards a clip with 10 plus yards of 15 times. From this Giants game, the Giants in running only had 26 yards with 0 touchdowns with a 1.1 yard a clip with 0 10-yard runs. That showed that the defense, the front, did their job. Mozzie Smith did his job. Chauncey Golston did his job. DeMarcus Lawrence did his job. Micah did his job. And when that happens, you keep your linebackers clean. They make the tackles. Overshown, happy to see him doing his stuff. Kendricks, bounce back game, respected. Damone Clark, I ain't see much of him. He was on the sideline. But overall, I thought the defense did what they could with some of the injuries that they had. We'll be getting Bland back soon. I'm not too worried with what's going on. We didn't have Kalen Carson in this game because he had a bruised shoulder. Hopefully he's all right, ready for this game when we go to Pittsburgh. We had some injuries with DeMarcus Lawrence. He had a Liz Frank injury, so he's out. He's on IR for 4 weeks. And Micah has a high ankle sprain that I'm not sure if they're waiting for the deadline to announce that he'll be on IR. But I don't expect to see him in this Pittsburgh game coming up with this high ankle sprain. I'm to the point now, get all your guys healthy at the right time. I don't want anybody being rushed out. I don't want anybody risking another injury during the season. I want you to be right for when we have that long haul that goes to the rest of the season. But overall, I was happy with what I saw with just the amount of pieces, with everybody making what they could with what they had. What went wrong? Mike McCarthy. The situation I have with Mike McCarthy is that I feel like he lied to myself. He lied to Cowboys Nation. When one thing that he wanted to say was he wanted to run the ball. He wanted to protect the defense. I didn't see any of that, sir. And for that, it's a reasoning for what is going on within the team is that he's not getting these guys fully ready. And that's the thing that's ticking me off the most because I have a head coach who gets the jitters whenever there's a big game but want to flex and show them against teams that are weaker or not that inferior. So basically, he's saying the guys lack on success. I'm to the point that you're supposed to make sure your team is level-headed. And I feel like McCarthy does not have his team level-headed. And depending on how things go forward, all I know, he need to open that playbook, get everybody involved, because that's the only way that they're going to move forward in protecting the defense with the amount of injuries that's happening. What went right? Mike Zimmer he was patient. Mike Zimmer was patient with the guys because little by little, each game there was like slight progressions on what they needed to work on with stopping the run. And this time around, I got a chance to see some of the progression go. And I want to tip my hat off to Mozzie Smith. I know I've been just messing with this dude, saying he's not going to get it right, saying that he's a bust and everything. I just needed time to just see what he can do when he has the right amount of time. And I feel like after this game, it looked like he took a step in the right direction where I honestly didn't call him Mickey Mouse hands this week. And I was actually very impressed in what he was able to accomplish, especially with defending the middle of that line of scrimmage and being a force. So I give him credit, but I definitely want to see it again. I definitely want to see how this team does against the Steelers coming up on Sunday night. We'll be shorthanded, but we did have a signing of KJ Henry to a 2-year deal. We signed him off the Bengals practice squad, and I believe that he'll get added to the mix just to try to get caught up in tempo and speed. We already have Carl Lawson, who's basically going to probably be an edge filling in for DeMarcus Lawrence, and then probably plugging in Chauncey Golston to handle what Micah is doing. But overall, I really want to see a premier defensive end be able to handle that edge, because I feel like Micah is better off ball than lining up at that edge spot, because I feel like he's diminishing his talent with his speed and range and physicalness of that. So hopefully we're able to figure out what we're going to do with the DN spots, especially with these injuries coming up. And another good thing that happened, Dak Prescott got going with CeeDee Lamb, and the connection is there. But I feel like CeeDee Lamb needs another receiver to go along to even enhance more of his skill set. And hopefully they can do something by the time of the trade deadline. Fingers crossed with that, knocking on wood. We definitely need a number 2 receiver. And if that happens, it happens. But you have guys that you got to get everybody involved. And they have talent there. It's just Mike McCarthy's got to dial it up, get it where it needs to be. And I'll leave with this little nugget before I give my player of the game. Right now, as I'm looking at how the season is going, I'm trusting more in Mike Zimmer than I am with Mike McCarthy. I feel like Mike Zimmer is telling the truth while Mike McCarthy is lying to us Cowboy fans. So definitely watch with your eyes and not by your ears, and look and see the difference of what's happening on the offense and the defense. Because right now I'm trusting Mike Zimmer just on what he's been talking about, and I'm seeing the progression. I got to see the same with Mike McCarthy and what he promised us, and saying wanted to run the ball more and also to protect the defense. My player of the game is CeeDee Lamb. He had a bounce back game. He wasn't in his feelings, but I need him to continue to be that dog that I know he can be. I digress.
I got a question for you, Earl. How confident are you in your defense without Micah and DeMarcus?
I'm not jumping off the boat. I'm to the point now I get to see what the team is made of without some of their guys. I feel like without having Micah out there and talking to the media and etc., I want to see how this team does without him on the field. DeMarcus Lawrence as well. He's been here for a very long time, since maybe around 2013, 2014. I need to see how they play without those guys, but it also shows to see how talented they are moving forward. I got a chance to see without Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence in preseason, and it's kind of basically some of the same guys with a couple of starters, and they didn't do half bad. So I'm interested to see what they do with the starters plugged in without DeMarcus and Micah now. And I'm actually kind of excited to see how it plays out these next couple of games, because it'll see what the team is truly made of, and I'm about progression and being sending them out baptism by fire to have their team ready at all times. So I believe Zimmer will have them ready.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. No, Earl. I think you guys are 2-2. Look. Very real chance that you guys are 3-3 by the end of this 6-game stretch, and then you have the bye week. Correct. How much of a hot seat is Mike McCarthy on?
He was on the hot seat
very briefly,
basically during the off season. So right now I believe after the Saints game, when the fans started to see nothing has changed, and then the Baltimore game, yeah, his seat is scalding. He could roast some marshmallows, make some s'mores right now.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And if nobody else has anything to add, let's go ahead and switch to the Eagles versus Buccaneers. Maurice, take it away, bud.
All right, so I am an exhausted Eagles fan.
Is this the diary of an angry Eagles fan, or exhausted Eagles fan? Is that what we're gonna have today, Maurice?
Well, something like that. Because Lucas, you're a Sixers fan, so
yes.
You get a taste of what it's like to be a Philadelphia sports fan.
Of course.
It's nothing but headaches and diarrhea.
Someone get this man some toilet paper.
When you put it like that.
When it comes to our Philadelphia sports
Pepto-Bismol.
teams. I mean, one disappointment after another. And for the Eagles so far this season, it's been a disappointment. We went into this game, we lost 33-16 in Tampa, a very winnable game. Last week I gave a lot of praise to our defense. Well, that pretty much went out the window this week. I don't know what is going on with this defense. I don't know what Vic Fangio is doing. Quite frankly, it's a combination of not enough talent on defense and lack of adjustments, and that's on him. This defense doesn't adjust. I mean, they made Baker Mayfield look like Tom Brady, and there was something about Brady and Mayfield had something to say.
To be fair, so did my team, so don't feel bad on that.
I mean, Baker Mayfield was sacked 7 times last week. We sacked him once, actually twice. And one of those sacks was by a 35-year-old, 15-year vet, Brandon Graham, and Josh Sweat. Our defense, we can't get pressure. By the way, our big free agent signing, Bryce Huff, he didn't start the game. Brandon Graham started the game. He was pretty much benched to start the game. What can I say about Bryce Huff? He's been an absolute zero, like his jersey number. He's been a zero in his defense. Absolutely no pass rush. He looks undersized. He get pushed around. Our line as a whole, with respect to Jalen Carter is a talented player, but with respect to him and Brandon Graham, our defensive line is one of the worst defensive lines I've seen in a very long time as an Eagles fan. This defensive line does nothing. It can't stop the run, and it can't get to the quarterback. This defense gives up everything. They give up the pass. They give up the rush. They don't stop anything. This defense has no identity. And the lack of talent really shows on the line and somewhat on the back end in the secondary. Quinyon Mitchell's having a good rookie start. Don't get me wrong. But Darius Slay allowed a touchdown. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he allowed another touchdown. Too many stupid penalties. This defense is really depressing. I don't believe this defense is a championship contending defense. Unless they make a bunch of moves before the trade deadline, I don't foresee this defense holding up and getting us to the playoffs. I'm going to be completely honest. Well, I'm seeing a lot of things that happened last season with this offense and defense and the coaching staff. I see players that are undisciplined. They're not in the right positions on offense and defense. Just boneheaded mistakes. Some of them can't blame it all on coaches. Players got to play. Players got to execute. But turning to the offense. Actually, speaking of, let's real quick. I'm gonna talk about the special teams because there were two plays where basically our own players are running into our kick returner, who was Cooper DeJean, because Covey's out. One of them was Ringo pushing a player, and the other one was just another guy just running into the. Ringo ran into Cooper DeJean, caused a fumble, gave Buccaneers good field position. The other one was Isaiah Rodgers pushing the defender into Cooper DeJean. That caused a fumble. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm seriously asking during the game. I'm posting on X. Like, are these guys being trained? Are these guys practicing during the week? I don't know what these guys are doing. I don't have no answers for you. I don't know what is wrong with this team. This team has too much talent to be this bad. And don't get me wrong.
I can answer that question.
Go ahead.
You asked why it's Nick Sirianni. I think he needs to be fired.
Is Sirianni the common denominator? Last season it was Brian Johnson
but
Sean Desai, and they were bad coordinators. This year they've upgraded at the coordinator's position.
Have they? I mean, okay.
I think Vic Fangio is better than Sean Desai.
Okay, but is Kellen Moore better?
But I mean, that's
you
a
have
tough
more
question to ask.
You have more turnovers with Jalen Hurts this year. So
I'm going to get into Jalen Hurts in a second, but
okay, I'm just saying if it was me and if I'm, it does not seem like this locker room is unified. I would be very tempted to change, but that's just me.
Well, we're on our bye week, so if there was an opportunity to change coaches, it would have been done by now. I mean, it would have been done Monday.
There is an opportunity. They're not taking advantage of it. I think that's the difference.
Well, I'll say this. This team has too much talent to be pretty much mediocre on both sides of the football. Now, switching to the offense, I give some leniency to Jalen Hurts. They didn't have Devontae. They didn't have A.J. Brown. They didn't have Lane Johnson. They didn't have Mekhi Becton. They were down 4 starters. But with that said, I got to give Lucas some credit. Jahan Dotson's pretty much been invisible.
I told you.
He's invisible. I needed him to step up and be the receiver, the go-to wide receiver. Pretty much Dallas Goedert was the go-to wide receiver. And he's a tight end. So be it.
Yeah, I tried to tell you, sir.
I mean, Saquon is great. I got nothing bad to say about Saquon. But the issue is he had 10 carries. Now, when you're down 2 receivers, he had 10 carries for 84 yards. He had a 59-yard long run. It's just not enough. It's not enough. That's on Kellen Moore, but at the end of the day, you're down. We were down 2 touchdowns early in the first quarter, so you would assume they would pass a little bit more, but who's Jalen passing to? So the Eagles started this game off with this unbelievable stat. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 255 yards of total offense. The Eagles had 0. I mean, you're not going to win football games no matter where you're at, no matter what type of talent you have, when you give up that many yards before you gain 1 yard. I mean, a touch push gets you 1 yard. Jesus. I'm just saying, there has to be something going on here. There's a disconnect between the coaches and the players. I don't know. But with that said, Jalen had another turnover. He had a fumble. It was a back-breaking fumble because the Eagles kind of had some momentum, and they just fumbled the ball. His pocket awareness is not good. Jalen Hurts right now is broken. I don't know what it is. The question is going to be asked: was the Super Bowl year the fluke, or was last year the fluke? And it's looking like the Super Bowl year was the fluke. Now, I'll give him the season because he doesn't have a lot of players right now, a lot of injuries. But there's something going on there with Jalen. Maybe he got paid and said, I'm not going to try to be the great quarterback, or I'm just going to cash in and just be mediocre. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But the turnovers is killing this team. Too many turnovers. Every game, you can pretty much bet Jalen's going to either throw an interception or fumble the ball. Jalen Hurts' two biggest issues are his pocket awareness is atrocious. Even Tom Brady mentioned it during the game. Between that and not recognizing defenses and reacting to the defense, the blitzes, excuse me, Jalen, he's lost out there. He's lost. Maybe it has something to do with Jason Kelsey not being there and kind of calling out the defenses and the blitzes and the free runners on the defense. Maybe they may have something to do with it. But anytime Todd Bowles blitzed Jalen, he got to him. Every time. He didn't blitz him much, but when he did dial up a blitz, it affected him. So between that and the pocket awareness, Jalen Hurts has a lot to work on, man. This is bye week. This is a bad effort by this team, and it's looking like the momentum of their team this team right now is looking like the end of last season. It's eerily similar. What went wrong? The defense is back to looking like trash. They might have a game or two this year where the defense looks okay, but they don't get pressure, and the back end doesn't hold up. One went right. I don't know. Saquon. I'll give it to Saquon. The best thing on this team right now. Player of the game, if I had to give a player of the game, it would probably be Saquon or Brandon Graham, just for the hell of it. But sad, man. I mean, I didn't expect this bye to come at a great time, but it's looking like this bye week is right on time for the Eagles because they need it. They got a lot of things to work on, and hopefully they can turn it around. So with that, anyone else got anything to say?
Yeah, so I'm going to go first real quick, Maurice, because I just want to say this is the first, I've known you now for over a year. We've talked a lot of Eagles football. This, I think, is the most depressed I've heard you when giving an analysis when it comes to the Eagles.
That's saying something because I've been depressed a lot.
I know. This one's pretty bad, but I just had one question because I think you nailed everything. I don't want to beat a dead horse really on anything, but I had one question for you. And my question is, what is your opinion on Darius Slay going on Micah Parsons' podcast and saying what he did about CJGJ?
First of all, both of them need to be quiet. Both of them. I said the same about Micah last year. Both of them need to be quiet because Slay has not been good. He's past his prime. What did he say about CJ Gardner-Johnson? I missed it.
Go ahead.
I think it was essentially like CJ has.
I'll explain it.
Yeah, like apparently they were
basically what they were talking about is that when someone caught on camera, CJ Gardner-Johnson was talking trash before the game, and the Bucs took it to y'all. So at that point, they were just talking about how CJ Gardner-Johnson should have kept his mouth shut, and Slay was just owning up, saying, "Yeah, we were bad. Like it was bad. It was like CJ ended up saying something about Micah when Micah saw it, and then et cetera for that. I do agree. Both need to keep their mouth shut, but I know that's not going to happen because they have their own podcast and they're going to have their own voice. But what I can say about the Eagles, and I will digress with this, I'm not going to get into any details dealing with Kellen Moore. I told you that week 1 and 2. You're seeing it in fruition. Everything that I spoke of in the offseason, you're seeing it now. And the only thing I could tell you is you better hope this bye week can have a come to Jesus moment to get these guys ready, because they only got one bye this week coming up, and then they got a plethora of games coming. They better buckle up. And my biggest thing is, if you know that your star receivers are out, what are you going to do to protect the defense? I think all y'all on this pod should know what to do with that. What is Jalen Hurts' best strong suit? What is Saquon's best strong suit? Running the football. If you don't do that, how the world are you going to protect your defense? Mm-hmm. So the only thing that I have in saying that is, you know the problem, you're stuck with it for a year unless they change something. But I've already been hearing other Eagles fans saying, yeah, Kellen Moore's going to be the savior. Yeah, he's going to help this offense. He's going to help Jalen Hurts. He's going to do what he did with Dak and everything and so on from that. You fail to realize Dak has a degree and he's a high IQ QB. The only situation I have with Jalen Hurts is he doesn't have the same reads as Dak Prescott, but at some point in time, you got to know to read what defense is there. He's seen this defense before in the wild card game. He should know what's coming. But even at that point, your coaches should have got y'all ready without your stars, but even got the guys involved where you got to go with what your strong suit is. And I feel like Jalen Hurts isn't his best because they're taking him away from what he's good at. And with him not running the football or passing or giving the rock to Saquon to run the ball is really putting your team under a big hole. But even at that point, your defense, you know you got rookies out there in the secondary. You know you got some young guys at the front. Your linebackers are sus right now, but you got to get these guys protected. I don't think you got coordinators that is protecting the other side of the ball, and that's what's hurting you guys. So whatever you're going through, enjoy this bye week. Hopefully y'all come to communion and a Jesus moment to be able to see what y'all got to fix. But if you come off the bye week and you still see the same stuff, good luck to you, brother.
Well, only one saving grace is you come off the bye, we play Cleveland. So we might get things going there. Might. But hey, if this defense still looks terrible, Deshaun Watson might.
And there's also a thing of, even if y'all try to make a trade to deadline, I still don't think it would help you guys, especially getting out of this hole. And how you say that the Super Bowl run that y'all had might be a fluke. That could be the case, but you also got to count that you had 17 All-Pros out there to help one another as well as running the football. Y'all aren't doing that right now, so you're seeing the after effects.
So altogether between Barkley, Hurts, and Gainwell, the Eagles carried the ball 20 times. Like I said, they got down 14-0 real quick. Then it was 21-0. So I expect them to pass. But Jalen Hurts went 18 for 30 with 158 yards and one touchdown. He got sacked 6 times. Like this, it's a failure all around.
It's also in making sure you get the TOP,
really nothing
time
else
of
I can
possession,
say about
that's
it.
running the ball.
So,
like you can protect your guys from that. I just feel like they're not utilizing their superpower.
Well, even without the 2 receivers, they still got enough talent. The quarterback, Jalen Hurts, he needs to put it together. That's all I'm going to say about Jalen right now. It's only 4 weeks in, but no. I'm going to say this. I've never been that critical of Jalen because I believe Jalen is a winner, and at the end of the day, all I care about is the win. But Jalen is starting to look a little funny in the light. I'll say it like that, and I'll end it right there.
Yeah, fair enough. Gosh, you guys really laid into it. We're already like 40 minutes in, and I haven't even had a chance yet. Okay, so yeah, look, skies are clear in DC. Metaphorically, weather's bad out here right now, but look, Commanders won 42-14. I think that's the highest scoring output that we've had since 2016. It wasn't until this game that our rookie sensational quarterback, Jaden Daniels, threw his first interception. And I'm just going to say this. Let me get to the bad here first. That interception, I don't even know if I completely blame him. Terry could have gotten it. Yeah, it was thrown slightly behind, but Terry could have gone up for it. But you know what? Everybody throws one. It took 4 games to him to throw one. It's whatever. He came back out and led scoring drives afterwards. I'm not worried about it. Look, defensively, we held them to 14 points. I don't have too many complaints there. We definitely were glad to have Emmanuel Forbes back. Definitely was active as a defender in that game. There's not too much bad to look here, guys. I mean, look, when you have a 42-41 win, there's not that much bad. Like I said, the interception, we definitely were sad that Austin Eckler did not play because of concussion protocols, but that's okay. Look, let's talk about the good here. I'm not going to take up too much time here. Jaden Daniels, and I know I teased it this morning. If you followed us on Twitter, I retweeted one of 13 Rings' old Twitter Space sound bites, and just putting it out there that I said during the summer that Jaden Daniels might be the second best QB by the time the season's over. It's starting to look that way. We'll see. Marie said wait until week 17. Fair enough. We'll wait until week 17. Yeah. But
he's showing promise, though. I'll give you that.
I mean, the evidence is starting to mount, right? He won 26 of 30. 233 yards, okay? And by the way, we were missing probably our third best, receiving weapon in Eckler. Let's be clear. Eckler's probably more dangerous as a receiver than a running back, and he's still a really good running back. The offensive line. This offensive line is legit, guys. I'm sorry. Like, this line, the upgrades that they made, adding Tyler Biadasz, Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley looks like he turned back the clock a little bit here. Getting Coleman in the draft was brilliant. Cornelius Lucas has looked great. Like I have no complaints about this offensive line. Brian Robinson had another 100-yard rushing game in this game. Jerry McNichols, who took over for Eckler, had a career-high game. 8 rushes for 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden had 47 yards for 2 touchdowns as well. Look, Olamide Zaccheaus was our top wideout with 85 yards. Terry got a touchdown with 53. Like, I could go on, but at the end of the day, Frankie Louvu recovered a fumble. Defensively, Jeremy Chin, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu were all active. Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne were active in the sack area here. Jonathan had 1, Daron split 1. Look, we had 5 sacks in the game. No, my mistake. 4 sacks in this game. Fantastic. Against a mobile quarterback, I think that's a very good win there. Jaden Daniels, Commanders are 3-1. They lead the division by a full game right now. Could change. We'll see. We're playing against Cleveland. Cleveland has looked horrendous. I'm optimistic about that. I know preseason wise I wasn't, but I'm optimistic right now. Look, seems like almost every team in this division is struggling. If that means the Commanders can take advantage of it, I am all for it. We got to see. We still have to see some more evidence of them playing against good competition here, but so far I've liked what I've seen. Any thoughts? Oh, my player of the game is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'll go.
But any thoughts? Now Maurice Earl?
Not bad with what y'all did. I definitely know this was a game that Cliff Kingsbury wanted to win against the Cardinals. And your line is doing what they can right now. But the real test will show it towards the tail end of the season. You just got to continue to stack wins. And I don't think your schedule is that difficult. So, yeah, y'all will win those games. But I got to see more from the offensive line as a whole. Overall, I think Jaden Daniels is doing his part, and respect to him. He's having a solid season so far. I believe he'll be Rookie of the Year. And the more that he's going to continue to get those games behind him, as well as putting the talent around him to do the right things, that's going to take y'all far where y'all need to go. The defense is going to come along as well. They didn't do bad this past game. I actually got a chance to see this game, and y'all did a solid job. Hate to say it, but y'all did a solid job. And overall, I think moving forward, y'all are somewhere in the right direction with it while still trying to add pieces. So I think it was a good win on y'all part.
All right. Well, if nobody else has anything else to add, let's go ahead and get to our social media stuff. And I believe Maurice is up first.
Yeah, so back to the NFC East mailbag. This week I have one question, and it's directed towards Mal. So the question is, do you see the New York Giants getting back to their winning ways as in a winning franchise? How long do you believe it will take for them to become a title contender?
Like this year or in general?
In general.
In general? Yeah, I mean, all right. We're getting in the right direction. Like I said, the Giants don't look that bad. The defense is actually pretty good. And, like, going back on to what Lucas said, I would argue that besides the Bucks, the Giants were the toughest defense that the Commanders have had to face thus far. And we did hold them to a bunch of field goals. So, defense looks okay. Offense, gonna be great with Neighbors and a quarterback. Honestly, I think once the Giants get a competent quarterback, the offensive line is significantly improved. I would give us maybe another year or two, as long as we draft a quarterback. But I don't know if that'll happen.
Yeah, fair enough. And Maurice, actually, Becca had a question for us on social media, on Twitter. Had a question for each one of us, actually.
Let me get to it. My bad. I had it up, but... And by the way, Lucas, when you was talking about the Commander, you forgot to mention the record.
Oh, yeah. Jaden Daniels broke 2 records. One of them is...
the completion.
The completion percentage through 2 games is at over 85%. That's the first ever in NFL history. And I believe I'd have to look up the other one here real quick because
I'm looking at it right now.
Highest completion percentage for any player through the first 4 games of a regular season.
Yeah, so that's not bad for Jaden. Mm-hmm. Not bad at all. It kind of seems like the second draft pick, when there's 2 quarterbacks, the second pick has been better than the first recently.
Which is like the opposite than the NBA, because Maurice, as you know, usually the second pick is the one that busts. From Stroud to, we need to see more of Caleb Williams, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about Caleb Williams. No, we got to wait. Look, you know what? I just think he needs a better offensive coordinator, but then the Bears are back into their cycle if they fire their head coach after this season, so we'll see.
Yeah. Real quick. I'm sorry to go off rails, but when Tom Brady was calling the game, he mentioned something during the game, like he was
about Baker. Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Him being courted by the Buccaneers and the Bears.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Imagine Tom Brady and the Bears. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the mailbag.
Becca asked.
Yeah, Becca asked, Earl, what was the bright spot in your game? I think Earl kind of went over that one.
Yeah. And do we win the division? Maybe. We'll see. I give us a 45% chance right now. I'm not going to give it over 50 yet because it's us, but I am. It's a lot higher than it was at the beginning of the year. I gave us like a 5% chance at the beginning of the year. So the fact that I'm up to 45% is a really big jump.
If we get through halfway through the season and the Commanders are leading the division, I will be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked by it.
That will be one of the more shocking things. Nobody here predicted that.
By the way, just side update here. Mal, one more win, and you got to buy a Sam Hartman Commander's shirt. Earl,
is he even
right
on the
now,
Commanders anymore?
He is on the. He is the practice squad 4th string guy. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that he was still on there.
Yep. He's still on there, and I'm going to win regardless because I'm not going to lose regardless now, so that's good. Earl, I think Mal's
like I said,
running back room is outpacing.
We got time.
That's crazy. But we got time. We got time, Earl. We got
only
time.
4 weeks in.
Yeah, we got time.
We're just an update on our bets here. And then if
Whatever
if
is
you
there.
lose, I think you got to get a Eli Man. No, any Giants Funko Pop. It doesn't matter, right, Mal?
Yeah, and then I'm getting a Zeke Funko Pop, and I have to tell everyone how much I love.
Hey everyone, this is Maurice jumping in to let you guys know there were some technical issues during our social media segment, and unfortunately, it could not be saved. We sincerely apologize for this. But let's wrap this up by just quickly going over our NFC East trivia, and that comes to us from the Washington Commanders. And the question is, which former Washington Commander Redskins player has the most Pro Bowl selections in franchise history? Does anyone know? The answer is actually Chris Hamburger. He played his entire 14-year career with the Washington Redskins from 1965 through 1978, and he was elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. And before we go, let's preview our Week 5 matchups. Of course, for my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, we're on a bye this week. But the Cleveland Browns go to Washington to play the Commanders. The Seattle Seahawks travel to New York to play the Giants. And the Cowboys renew an old rivalry against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. All right, and with that said, we truly thank you all for listening to our podcast this week. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel and give our episodes a thumbs up. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, Instagram, and Facebook at 13_rings podcast. Until next time, have a good day.